All right, Kyle, thanks so much. Let's get to some consumer news right now. A new Gallup poll shows nearly half of Americans are nervous about the money they have in a bank. About 1 in 5 say they're very concerned about the safety of their savings. It's pretty similar to the last time Gallup asked this question back in 2008 during the global financial crisis. Now, despite some recent failures among regional banks, U.S. officials say the industry remains strong overall. But is it really strong? And is the end to inflation and rising interest rates finally in sight? We have local financial professional Stewart Fields from Open Air Advisors here to explain how economic developments affect us. Stewart, good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you here.
Absolutely.
So, Stewart, the Fed just announced yet another rate hike. This is, I believe, the 10th one in the last year to help curb inflation. But why the move despite the recent collapse of First Republic Bank?
We always have to remember one of the first goals of the Fed is to control inflation. And so inflation, the recent report came out at 5%. That's still well above the 2% target. So despite banks like First Republic Bank collapsing and many others that are continuing these hikes. So these hikes aren't the only reason why these banks began to collapse. So inflation is still a main concern of the Fed. We've seen inflation kind of tame. It's kind of come back down a little bit. We've had inflation as high as 9% last year. And we start looking at the job market. For example, this is actually a good sign for the economy that our job market's cooling. Our job market was very hot for a while, so jobs are beginning to cool. So that therefore should really slow down the economy and help the Fed get to their 2% target.
Yeah, definitely. Does the Federal Reserve expect a recession to hit?
They do. Many economists for months have said a recession's kind of around the corner, and they're pointing to a lot of signs for this. GDP has began to really slow. So despite that, they're forecasting a recession. They did raise rates one more time. They said in their expected meetings in June that they should probably pause these hikes and kind of leave things where they're at. But they do think a recession is going to happen probably mid-year, late year, and last for about 2 years.
Okay, how do we know if we are in one?
You know, we're always looking for early warning signs, either whether you're a business owner or a consumer or mom or dad. So there's basically 3 things that we're kind of looking for. One is unemployment changes. Once we start seeing unemployment changes rise about 0.5%, that's going to be a really good sign that this recession, we're right in the middle of it. The second thing is layoffs and budget cuts from businesses. We've already seen a big round of layoffs announced, and we continue to see that becoming more of a prevalent maneuver by these companies, and that's a big recession sign as well. And 3 is business budget cuts. Once they start budgeting their cuts, they start laying off workers, they freeze hiring, that's going to be a big sign that recession's coming. So no one has a crystal ball. We can never really time these things up. So it's really important to allocate your assets appropriately, manage your risk. And that's really how we help our families is really be risk management experts in those categories.
No, for sure. And, what can we do to prepare our finances, ahead of something like this?
Yeah, there's 3 things I'd focus on first. One is to boost your emergency savings. This is a good time to look at your savings. If you don't have 3 to 6 months of savings, increase it. Because one of the first things that we'll notice in a big recession is that people are going to get laid off, and we're going to still need to pay rent, mortgage, buy groceries. So boost those savings if they're not there. Number 2 is to look at your spending. So basically we start looking at spending, we look at businesses spending. They're going to begin to lay off workers and those types of things. And number 3 is to diversify your portfolio. We don't know when this recession will come. We want to make sure that a good chunk of your assets are protected from any market downturns. So diversify your portfolio. There's a lot of things that go into a financial plan. So sometimes we need to step back and really look at all the pieces. It's almost kind of like looking at the Mona Lisa through a straw. So the further we step back, the better that we can do at diversification and making sure a good chunk of your portfolio is protected from any market downturns.
And there are financial advisors out there who can help you get on track as well. So
absolutely. If you have any more, if you have a big knowledge or a big desire for more knowledge, we have a lot of information on our website, openairadvisors.com. It's full of really good information to kind of help people through these tough times.
Wonderful. Some great tips. Stewart, glad to have you in studio. We appreciate your time.